Good morning. Welcome to the Brookfield Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Alyssa Lee. I am the minister here, and I'm so glad that you all are here. And I'm especially glad that some of you are wearing your finest holiday attire. So unless you don't have to stare at me and wonder what I'm wearing the whole time, it is a T-Rex whose arms are too short for the sweater. So, because I know I'd spend the whole time going, what is going on up there? So. I'd like to invite members of our membership committee present this morning to please stand and give a brief wave. Do we have anyone present? Excellent. They'll be available after the service to show you around and answer any questions you might have about our church. If you're new here, and we would love if you'd sign our guest book in the entryway so that we can send a copy of our latest newsletter, which will give you an idea of who we are and what all is going on at the church. And speaking of who we are, this congregation puts genuine warmth and welcome at the heart of everything we do. In that spirit, I invite everyone to turn and briefly greet or wave to one another. You can say hello, though. A reminder to pick up your name tag on the way to coffee hour, which is in the parlor here. If you don't have a name tag and would like one, there are directions on how to get one on the board at the back of the sanctuary. Masks are now optional during worship and at coffee hour, and as always, please no food or drink in the sanctuary. The restroom is located downstairs and is accessible via the stairs or the lift off of the parlor right there. Today's announcements are listed on the back of your order of service. And then I have at least one announcement, and then I think we have a couple other announcements. You'll see here in the parlor, the green board here, that is going to be featured in our Christmas Eve services. So the idea of our Christmas Eve service is hopefully going to be about a celebration of memories of the holidays, warmth, good tidings, happiness. So we'd love to hear you talk about what, if you want to draw a picture or write something that it just brings you joy during the season. My personal thing that I will say is the Muppet Christmas Carol. I have to watch it every year, and that is just my guiding light for the holiday services. So would love to hear your input, and we'll incorporate it into the Christmas Eve service. Do I have any other announcements? I think Cara does.
Good morning. I have 3 announcements for today. My first announcement is to say thank you to everyone who has given to the migrants. We had been collecting for the Sturbridge migrant families to allow them to have gifts for this holiday season. This week's donations are actually going towards the Auburn group, which also needs gifts as well. My second announcement is a note to the grown-ups of the Religious Explorers. I've sent an email asking about some dates that are coming up. If you could please follow up, that would be wonderful. And announcement number 3, we have a wreath over here as we have done in previous years. This is a year that is filled with a lot of joy, but it can also be filled with some sorrows as we consider those that we are missing, either because they have passed on or they're simply just not in our lives anymore. So we welcome you when you get a chance to come up. There is a basket of ribbons over here to come up and tie a ribbon on for those people. Thank you.
Good morning. This is an announcement about the calendar raffle. This may be redundant. Someone may have done it last week, but I said I'd do it this week. So what's going on is right now we are collecting gift cards for this year's calendar raffle. And we're collecting them through the end of January. And so those, if you can re-gift if you have one you're not going to use, or if you want to pick one up. So we're going to collect those. If you look at the back of your order of service, there's a little more information. There's Amy Frisella's email address. You can reach out to her if you have a gift card. So the way this is going to work is, so we collect gift cards through the end of January. If I'm saying anything wrong, somebody correct me. And then once we have all the gift cards, 1 or 2 of these gift cards gets assigned to each day for the month of March. And then those calendars are what we sell. And those calendars will show what the prize is for each day. If you buy a calendar for $20, we'll all be selling them, then your name gets put in the hat, and every day in March they do a drawing, and you win whatever gift cards are assigned to that day. And then your name actually goes back in the hat, so you can win multiple times. So right now we're in the process of collecting all these gift cards, and like I said, there's on the back of your order of service, there's Amy Frisella's email. So last year it was great. We sold a lot of calendars, a lot of great prizes, so we're going to try to top it this year.
Are there any other announcements? Okay. In the poem The Shortest Day by Susan Cooper, she writes, "So the shortest day came and the year died, and everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. Today we mark this upcoming passage of the shortest day and the winter solstice, but not with an emphasis on driving away the dark, but to embrace it and to remember the beauty that can be found in the darkness, in the not knowing. A time when we can see the stars, and in the summer we can feel the cool breeze, sometimes for the first time that day. And in the winter we experience the quiet solitude that makes you often feel like the only person around. Today, we are not driving away the dark, but we are embracing it. We thank it for its presence and the beauty that descends when night begins. Let us now begin worship. Our first hymn is number 45 in the purple hymnal, Decoremos los Salones. Please rise and body your spirit.
I would now like to invite the children and youth forward for our chalice lighting. Today's chalice lighting was chosen by the Explorers, and it's by Jennifer Grayson. Universal mystery, guide us away from the desire to shine light in all the corners. Teach us to embrace the night, for without the darkness, we never see the stars.
Please join me in reading our affirmation that you will find printed in your order of service. We have a few helpers who will lead with together and invite you to join in the response. Unite in an atmosphere of care and support to foster spiritual health and growth. We focus on sharing our ideas and histories with warm, hope, loving friendship, and an open mind. Together, we nurture stability for our daily lives and seek motivation to reach out to the larger community. One of the ways we reach out to the larger community is through our support of the Brookfield Ecumenical Food Pantry. If you brought a donation, you're invited to come forward and place it in the basket at the front of the sanctuary. If you didn't bring a donation for the food pantry or are attending via Zoom but would like to contribute, you're invited to mail in a donation or to leave a monetary donation in the envelope in the basket. 3/4 of the monetary donations go to the Minister's Benevolence Fund, and 1/4 goes to the operation expenses of the food pantry. Thank you for sharing with your neighbors. Our first reading today is by Lauren Stringer, and it is called Winter is the Warmest Season. Winter is the warmest season. Most people think it's summer with its long, steamy days, but not me. My world is warmest in winter. When winter comes, my jacket puffs warm with feathers, my hat grows ear flaps, my pants hide deep in fuzzy boots, and my hands wear warm, woolly sweaters. When winter comes, summer's plants and animals sleep deep under thick blankets of snow, while the snowmen I build dance on top, wearing warm, wraparound scarves. When winter comes, my iced summer's milk turns to hot chocolate. Cold jelly sandwiches turn into grilled cheeses. Hot soups, hot pies, and oven hot breads make winter the warmest for the inside of me. When winter comes, summer's cool fans hide in dark basements, while sleeping radiators awake to their dragon selves, banging and hissing and pouring heat all through my house. When winter comes, cats sit on laps instead of windowsills. Even nights are warmer in winter. Fires burn in fireplaces, candles burn in candle places.
I think parties are warmer in the winter. And when summer's cool swims turn into winter's hot baths, I know my pajamas will grow big, warm feet. My bed is warmest in winter, piled high with blankets of plaid, blankets striped yellow, and a blue starry quilt on top. In winter, bodies sit closer, books last longer, and hugs squeeze the warmest. Even friends are warmer. And in winter, when it's the very warmest and I close my sleepy eyes, I might dream of summer. Just to cool me off.
It was really lovely. Thank you to the choir. Now it's time for our offering. I always like to try to highlight different aspects of our community here. And one thing I was just thinking about is just this wonderful building. I was trying to tell people directions. I'm like, just look for the big castle. I'm sure you all do the same. But I was just, admiring just how beautiful the stained glass windows are. And then we have this new wreath and everything. And it's just, I'm just so appreciative of that we have this gorgeous building and the people who maintain it and spend time thinking about it and worrying about bats and other things. That was a real stark awakening to me that was a thing before I started this job. But I'm just so appreciative of it. And so when you donate to this church, then you're also donating to sustain this beautiful building and this wonderful place that we have here. For those joining us by Zoom this morning, offerings and pledges can be made at any time using one of the options given at the end of the order of service. If you are here in person, you may also donate online, but you also may donate by the offering plates as well. And we will now gratefully receive your offering. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery who holds us and calls us home to our true selves. During these winter months, it can sometimes be easy to feel the cold seep in, to be overwhelmed by the dark. We see what is happening in the wider world, and we fear for what is to come. We wonder how the light will get in, if or when hope will arise. Let us take a moment to pause in that darkness, to feel the cold but not fear it, to come to an understanding that this moment can be one of learning, of rest, a resetting. Let us also remember that we are not in this darkness alone. We are surrounded by a community of people. Some we may have just met, and some we may have known for decades, but people who care for us, who sit with us shoulder to shoulder, and who we may not be able to see in the darkness, but we hear them breathing. We feel their presence. May we find comfort in that presence. Now let us rest in a moment of stillness, breathe together, and feel the presence of those around us, remembering that we are always bound to one another as members of this community. Amen, and may it be so.
Winter solstice is an interesting time for many. It's something where we usually celebrate the coming of the light, but here in New England, it really does not feel like the light has come to us for a couple of months yet. And I think it's important for us to lean into the dark that's to come, the warmth that is to come. Last week during our RE family walk, I first asked the question, what don't you like about the dark? And we had quite a few answers. And then I said, okay, what do you love about the dark? And that spurred more conversation than the first question did. And while there are a few more things they didn't care about the dark that came up afterwards, it was something they really took to and pondered. And so I invite you now to come up and speak briefly about what it is that you love about the dark. And once you have done so, over here you will see a dark stone and our starry sky. If you would gently place a dark stone into our starry sky. I will start off. A thing that I love, as I am always cold, the wonderful thing about the darkness is I climb into bed, and my husband's a radiator, and I have a cat nestled between my feet, and for the first time all day, I warm up.
I love the night sky, which is there for me for many more hours in the winter. And I like the peace.
When we were talking about this in a staff meeting, I was reminded of going fishing where I don't actually fish with my dad and my grandpa. And I love laying on the boat and just staring up at the night sky and feeling the cool breeze go across the lake.
I often get home really late from gigs, and when I get home and I step out of the car, before I walk inside, there is a stillness to the night, and sometimes the moon is shining bright, and I'll just stand there for a moment and just soak it in, and I find it refreshing. The solitude and the quiet.
Can I do two?
Yes.
I love candles. Candles aren't quite the same when it's not dark. And I love it when the cats get the zoomies, which they tend to do once the sun goes down.
And I'm sorry, can everyone hear? Do we need to use the microphones? Is that okay? All right.
I like the crock pot meals. And I start in the morning and go all day long, and then I come home or we come in the house and it just smells wonderful. And that's just a winter thing for me, and I just really like my crock pot meals.
I will use the mic, mainly for the Zoom people too. I'm with Cara. I am not a good going to bed person, but in the winter, thinking of that big soft comforter, and for the first time all day, I'm nice and warm.
I like to be outside on a really, really dark night with no moon, when the owls are most active, and listening to the barred owls arguing in the dead of night. It's so beautiful with the stars shining.
I love being in bed at night and my little cat Maya sleeping on top of my legs. And only at night does our cat Finn climb up onto my chest and put his little chin on my chin and just rests it there. It's so sweet.
As a light tech for theater, I love the dark because it means I have a blank canvas. And I also love crockpot meals. Thank you, Donna, for mentioning that. I love coming home from school and like my mom has been cooking like pulled pork or something and it smells so good and it drives the dog nuts, which is funny.
So those cold, dark days do make me think the short winter days of food. I love baking bread, which came up in the book this morning that Cara read. There's just nothing like spending a whole day making bread and having that warm bread at dinner time when it doesn't seem like there's any light outside the windows. And I'm also one to curl up with a quilt and a cup of tea.
I like getting up early in the morning before anyone else is up and it's dark and I make myself a cup of coffee and hold it in the mug that I've been drinking it out of for, 15 years. And there's no one else around. The world is quiet until people start going to work.
Hymn number 55, Dark of Winter. We never sing that except this time of year, and it's my favorite.
We better hear you singing then.
I've started to recognize that I sleep better when there's more darkness, because when it's light at 5:30 in the morning, I'm awake, and if it's light at 9 in the evening, then I'm up until then and then even later. But now I actually sleep until 7:30 if I want to, because it's so warm and cozy.
Well, I agree with pretty much everything everybody else has already said, but what I would add is what I love about the darkness is in the evening, I feel less obligated to be productive when it's dark out. I feel like I can just sit and snuggle with the dog or the cat, read a book, watch something, just relax. And I don't know why I don't give myself permission to relax during the light, but I don't.
So I work in front of a computer screen all day, and the glare of the screen can drive you crazy. So it's very comforting to have darkness. And to echo what several people have said, I love going to sleep when it's pitch black dark. It's just the best.
I love tending the fire in the wood stove, which I can't do on a hot summer day.
Being able to go out and look at the stars at night and not have to worry about city lights blocking them.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing. And in honor of Barb, just Barb, just checking, I'm going to sing Please Rise and Body Your Spirit for number 55, Dark of Winter in your gray hymnal. Just had a spider fly on me. Okay. Well, wasn't that fun? All right. Our second reading is Winter's Cloak by Joyce Rupp. This year, I do not want the dark to leave me. I need its wrap of silent stillness, its cloak of long-lasting embrace. Too much light has pulled me away from the chamber of gestation. Let the dawns come late. Let the sunsets arrive early. Let the evenings extend themselves while I lean into the abyss of my being. Let me lie in the cave of my soul, for too much light blinds me, steals the source of revelation. Let me seek solace in the empty places of winter's passage, those vast dark nights that never fail to shelter me. So one of my favorite quotes is from Les Miserables. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. It has always served as a powerful reminder to me that whatever darkness in my life currently enveloping me will end. There will be a sunrise at the end of this dark night to provide me comfort and warmth. But lately, I've been thinking more and more about the dark night itself and finding myself embracing it rather than pushing it away or hoping for its rapid departure. People often refer to having a dark night of the soul in which they come to some personal realization that is often life-changing. We tend to focus on the light that comes after that dark night, of the lessons learned at the end of the journey. But it's important to remember that darkness is key to this process as well. What we learn during that dark night, and perhaps the deeper realizations that may come from embracing that darkness, are equally as important, perhaps more so, than what comes after. In his poem, To Know the Dark, Wendell Berry says, "To know the dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings." So what if we tried to know the dark? What if we plunged ever deeper into it and really looked at it? Not as the scary moment to be endured, but rather an important moment to be present, listen, and to wait for what blooms. So of course, I'm speaking largely of the figurative darkness, personal moments that require reflection and change. But what about the actual darkness that night brings and this time of year feels ever present? Some of you may know, but much of my life has been characterized by the fact that I have terrible insomnia. In fact, last night I slept about 1 hour. I've never slept well. I've spent countless hours since I was a child just staring out into the darkness of my room. Sometimes that time is spent despairing at my lack of sleep and worrying about how it will affect my day tomorrow, much as it was last night. Sometimes it is spent doom scrolling on my phone, which I am trying to be better about. And often, especially when I was a child, it is spent looking out at the window at the dark night surrounding me, feeling the peace that can come when you feel like the only person in the world who is awake at that moment. On the rare nights I actually get a good night's sleep, I often feel sad and like I've been cheated. I didn't get my time to contemplate life or stare at the moon or catch up on that book that I've been reading. It may sound odd, but I've come to expect a certain amount of darkness and night to be a part of my everyday experience. I won't lie, I probably spent more time as a child, and let's be real, even now, worrying about the shapes in the darkness in my room than contemplating the major moments of my life or communing with the outside. The darkness can be scary, and our ancestors knew it, and we know it, often deep within our bones. But it can also be a time of renewal, a resetting, or even a physical manifestation of the notion that we do not ultimately have control over our lives, that we never quite know what is just out there beyond our reach. The darkness is a reminder of our limitations and how we can find meaning in embracing them. Perhaps the darkness is less of this scary other to be overcome by light and more of a friend that is enveloping us in rest and maybe even reconnection to ourselves and lessons we have learned. Recently, someone described being outside in the dark as viewing the world in watercolor. Shapes are not defined as they are in the light. There's beauty in that lack of definition and where our imagination fills in the gaps. And there's beauty in the quiet that so often comes from being in the dark. being alone outside in the dark can bring with it a sense of clarity and focus that we often can't get when our eyes are searching the landscape in the light. As we prepare this week for the longest night, how will you mark the night? Will you hope for the sun to return and breathe a sigh of relief as the days start getting longer? Or will you embrace the darkness and greet it as a friend whose full outline may be elusive, but who reminds us all that there can be comfort and serenity and lessons to be learned in the not knowing? Amen, and may it be so. Our final hymn today is, the words are listed in your order of service. It's called Here Is My Home. And the choir will provide assistance. Oh, please rise and bow to your spirit. A blessing for you all. During the week ahead, when the nights are longest, may you be comforted by the quiet of the dark. May you see the stars and the moon, and may they remind you that you are home, that this universe cares for you, and that your place in it has meaning and is beautiful. And may you go in peace today, surrounded by the love of this community, today and always. Amen.